I grip the steering wheel tighter as the iron gates of my parents' estate swing open. The drive up to their Connecticut mansion always feels like entering another world, one where I perpetually stand on the outside looking in. The autumn leaves crunch under my tires, a symphony of gold and crimson that clashes with the hollow feeling in my chest. My charcoal pencil skirt and burgundy blouse are tasteful but understated, a deliberate choice for their 35th anniversary celebration. I know from experience that my mother prefers me to blend into the background rather than stand out. Before I can even collect my purse from the passenger seat, Eliza's silver Mercedes pulls up behind me. I watch in the rearview mirror as she emerges in a shimmering gold dress that catches the late afternoon sun. Perfect timing, as always. The front door swings open. My father stands tall in his tailored suit, my mother radiant beside him in pale blue silk. Their faces light up as Eliza floats toward them. "There's our princess!" Mom calls out, arms outstretched. Dad wraps Eliza in a bear hug, lifting her slightly off her feet. The guest of honor arrives. I step out of my car, smoothing my skirt. Mom glances over Eliza's shoulder, her smile dimming just enough that only I would notice. "Veronica, you made it." A statement, not an exclamation. Dad offers a quick pat on my shoulder before turning back to Eliza. "Sweetheart, wait until you see the decorations. We've outdone ourselves this year." Inside, the grand foyer sparkles with crystal and silver. White roses and lilies spill from oversized vases, their scent almost overpowering. A string quartet plays softly in the corner. Nothing but the best for Robert and Eleanor White's anniversary. I scan the entrance to the dining room, where a framed seating chart sits on an antique stand. My finger traces the elegant calligraphy until I find my name table 14, far corner, near the kitchen doors, 6 tables away from my parents and Eliza. "We wanted to make sure you could network," Mom says, suddenly beside me. "The Hendersons will be at your table. They're always looking for tech consultants." I nod, swallowing the familiar ache. How thoughtful. She pats my arm distractedly before floating away to greet early arrivals. The event planner, a rail-thin woman with a clipboard permanently attached to her hand, corners my mother near the grand staircase. I move toward the bar, but their voices carry across the marble floor. "About the photographs, Mrs. White," the planner says. "We've scheduled the photographer for 7:30. Will that work for the family portraits?" My mother's voice drops to a stage whisper. "That's fine. But make sure we get one with just the 3 of us, Robert, myself, and Eliza. That's the one we'll want enlarged for the living room." My hand freezes around the champagne flute a server has just handed me. The 3 of them, not 4, never 4. The waiter, a young man with kind eyes, notices my expression. He tops off my glass with a sympathetic glance before discreetly moving away. I retreat to a window alcove, memories washing over me unbidden. Thanksgiving dinner, age 8, seated at the kids' table while Eliza, just 5, sat proudly between Mom and Dad. Christmas mornings where Eliza's pile of gifts dwarfed mine, spilling across the living room floor while mine fit neatly under a single tree branch. My high school debate championship, where my parents arrived during the closing remarks, having sat through all of Eliza's elementary school choir practice beforehand. The pattern was established early and never wavered. Veronica, the afterthought. Eliza, the cherished center. By 16, I had found my escape in dog-eared business books borrowed from the library. While Eliza collected ribbons for participation in various hobbies she quickly abandoned, I drafted business plans at our kitchen table. "A student concierge service?" Dad had laughed, barely glancing at my detailed proposal. "Honey, focus on your studies. Leave the business ideas to the professionals." That same month, Eliza's watercolor of our house windows, unevenly spaced, proportions impossible, was professionally framed and hung in the front hallway. My Regional Young Entrepreneur Award collected dust in my bedroom closet. The doorbell chimes again. Guests pour in, gravitating naturally toward Eliza's tinkling laugh in the center of the room. I drift toward the edges, helping Aunt Susan find her seat, showing Uncle William where the restrooms are located. "Veronica." My father calls, not quite looking at me as he passes. "Make sure the caterers don't forget the special champagne for the toast. The Veuve, not the Moet." I straighten my spine and nod. Of course. Not a guest to be celebrated, not a daughter to be cherished. Just another set of hands to ensure the celebration runs smoothly. A celebration where I'm simply another face in the crowd, watching the real family from afar. 15 minutes later, after guests assembled, the clink of silverware against crystal quiets as my father rises from his seat at the head of the table. His silver hair catches the chandelier light, and his custom tuxedo hugs his still athletic frame. He raises his glass, and the room holds its collective breath. 35 years, he begins, his voice carrying to every corner of the dining room. 35 years of building a legacy, a home, and a family. His gaze sweeps the room before landing on Eliza, his eyes crinkling at the corners. And nothing represents that legacy better than our beautiful daughters, especially our Eliza, who brings sunshine wherever she goes. I maintain my smile, practiced over decades, as he launches into a story about 5-year-old Eliza singing at their 20th anniversary. No mention of 15-year-old me who organized the entire surprise party. The story winds through Eliza's college graduation, her volunteer work with children, her artistic pursuits. 10 minutes pass. My name never crosses his lips. To Eleanor, my rock, my heart, Dad raises his glass higher. And to Eliza, the greatest gift our marriage has produced. Mother rises, tears gleaming, and wraps Eliza in a lingering embrace, pearls against gold as their dresses press together. The guests applaud. I join them, my hands meeting in silent rhythm while I stand alone. Across the room, Cousin Thomas catches my eye. He offers a slight shake of his head, barely perceptible before looking away. Aunt Barbara suddenly becomes engrossed in her napkin. Uncle Philip examines his watch with unusual intensity. They know. They've always known. I exhale slowly, my lungs releasing air in carefully measured amounts. My face remains composed. CEO face, James calls it. The one that reveals nothing during negotiations, when millions hang in the balance. Tonight it masks something far more valuable than money. And now, Dad announces, a special presentation. Mother produces a red leather box from beneath the table. The distinctive Cartier packaging gleams under the lights. The room stills. Even the waitstaff pauses. For the true fruit of our 35 years together, Father proclaims, his voice thick with emotion. He places the box in Eliza's manicured hands. Something as precious and timeless as you are to us. Eliza's fingers tremble as she lifts the lid. Nestled against white satin lies a watch encrusted with diamonds that catch fire in the light. The guests gasp in unison. The Santos de Cartier, my father announces proudly. Custom designed with Eleanor's birthstone at the 12. Someone whispers the price, $15,000, and a murmur ripples through the crowd. Eliza squeals, launching herself into our parents' arms. They form a perfect tableau of family devotion, while I stand sentry at my assigned table near the kitchen doors. No acknowledgement of the daughter who shares their name, but apparently not their hearts. No second box waits beneath the table. No surprise for the firstborn. When the applause fades, I slip toward the bar. Aunt Margaret intercepts me, her arthritic fingers closing around my wrist. Join me for some air, dear? It's not really a question. On the terrace, autumn air clears the scent of lilies from my lungs. Margaret settles her substantial frame onto a stone bench. Did you know? She begins without preamble. That this is the third luxury gift they've given her this year? First the spa weekend in February, then the summer in France. My eyebrows rise. Summer in France? She told everyone she won that trip. Margaret snorts. Robert paid for everything, just like he's been paying the rent on her independent apartment these past 3 years. Cold certainty settles in my stomach. The puzzle pieces shift, revealing a clearer picture. That explains why my Series C funding announcement disappeared from the family newsletter. I murmur. The same month, Eliza started selling homemade soaps at the farmer's market. Your mother called it a hobby update. Your $40 million investment round was mentioned in paragraph 12, below Philip Jr.'s soccer tournament. My phone buzzes in my clutch. James's name flashes on the screen alongside his message. How's the royal coronation going? Escape plan ready when you need it. A smile, genuine this time, tugs at my lips. I quickly tap back. Standing by. May need extraction before dessert. Uncle William appears beside us, crystal tumbler in hand. His eyes, so like my father's, hold a softness his brothers never show when looking at me. Quite a watch, he says, settling beside Margaret. Almost as impressive as that tech prize you won last month. Shame they didn't mention it in the toast. Innovation Leadership Award. I correct gently. And it's fine. William leans closer, bourbon warming his words. You know your success makes them uncomfortable, dear. Always has. The waiter from earlier appears, champagne bottle at the ready. He tops off my glass with a subtle nod. moving on before anyone notices his special attention. A small kindness in a sea of orchestrated slights. Sarah, my childhood friend, catches my eye from across the terrace and makes her way over. She's aged well, her familiar face a welcome sight among the polished strangers my parents call friends. "I saw the whole thing," she whispers, squeezing my hand. "Want to sneak out the back like junior prom?" Before I can answer, my phone rings, my assistant's special tone. "Veronica White," I answer, business voice firmly in place. "Miss White, I know you're at a family event," Alexis says, following our pre-arranged script, "but there's an urgent situation with the Singapore client." "I understand. Give me 10 minutes. As I slip the phone back into my clutch, the event planner's voice rings out across the terrace. "Family photos on the grand staircase. Everyone please gather in the foyer." The guests flow inside, a river of silk and cologne. I follow, finding my assigned mark on the lowest step. Mother adjusts Eliza's hair, Dad straightens his tie, and the photographer positions us with practiced efficiency. I stand at the far edge, half my body already outside the frame. Flash, click. "Done. Now," Mother says, her voice carrying in the marbled space, "just the three of us for the special portrait." She doesn't look at me as she says it. Doesn't need to. The instruction hangs in the air, clear in its meaning. I stand frozen as they rearrange themselves, mother, father, favored daughter in the center of the staircase. The real family, the complete family, without me. The photographer adjusts his settings. The guests watch. No one speaks. I remain exactly where I am, neither retreating nor protesting, as the final photos are taken. The image will hang in the living room, I know. A permanent record of where I stand in the White family hierarchy, nowhere at all. I slip away from the party when Mom and Dad pull Eliza to the center of the room for a champagne toast. I immediately withdraw to the father's home office, log into my email, and call my assistant back to solve the work issue. After 15 minutes of checking every chart, every slide, every explanation, we send the new proposal to the clients and I want to take a small rest. My footsteps echo through the hallway as I climb the familiar staircase to my childhood bedroom. Just a moment of peace, that's all I need. When I push open the door, the air catches in my throat. This isn't my room anymore. Eliza's pageant crowns glitter on what used to be my bookshelf. Her college sorority composites hang where my honor roll certificates once lived. The walls, formerly a soft green, now shine in Eliza's favorite lavender. They didn't even wait for me to take all of my things before they reorganized the room completely. I whisper to the empty space. My fingers trace the outline of what used to be my desk, now a vanity scattered with Eliza's makeup. The shelves overflow with trophies from activities she abandoned after a month. Her childhood teddy bears occupy the window seat where I spent countless hours reading. I open the closet, the last place anything of mine might remain. A cardboard box sits in the corner, labeled Veronica Misk. Inside, my college diplomas rest beneath my Young Entrepreneur Award. My summa cum laude tassel is tangled around my business school graduation photo. Everything that marks my accomplishments, everything that defines my journey, stuffed away like holiday decorations. A crystal clarity washes over me. Nothing will ever change. I will always be the box in the corner, the afterthought, the chair by the kitchen door. I sit on the edge of the bed, now covered in a lavender duvet. My hand brushes something hard beneath the pillow. Curious, I pull out an old book, my grandmother's copy of Jane Eyre. My name is written inside the cover in her elegant handwriting. To my Veronica, a girl who will forge her own path. With love, Grandma Margaret. I remember how Grandma would pull me aside at family gatherings, her eyes twinkling as she slipped me books, while Eliza opened mountains of gifts. Books build inner worlds, she would whisper, where nobody can tell you who to be. As I turn the pages, an envelope slips out, yellowed with age, but sealed with wax bearing my grandmother's initial. My name is written across the front. The laughter from the party drifts upstairs as I break the seal. The letter inside is dated 3 weeks before Grandma died, nearly 5 years ago. My dearest Veronica, if you're reading this, you finally sought refuge in the pages of Jane Eyre. I knew this day would come, when the weight of invisibility became too much to bear. I recognize the pattern all too well. Your grandfather's family treated me just as yours treats you, as though I were a supporting character in someone else's story. But know this, my darling. You are the protagonist of your own life. I have made arrangements with Mr. Abernathy at the bank. There is an account in your name only, containing both funds and my personal journals. The code to access it is the date we visited the Metropolitan Museum. Just the two of us. This is not about money, though that will help. This is about legacy. You are my true heir in spirit, the one who carries my determination. The quiet ones observe, learn, and ultimately succeed where the celebrated ones falter. Remember, Veronica, sometimes family is who sees you, not who shares your name. With endless faith in you, Grandma Margaret. The tears come hot and fast, blurring the words. She knew. All those years, she saw what was happening and prepared this lifeline. My grandmother, the only person in this house who ever truly saw me. I reach for my phone, needing to connect with people who value me. 3 messages await from my business partners. James. How's the family circus? Remember, our dinner reservation is still on standby if you need an escape route. Michelle. That acquisition meeting went perfectly. The board voted unanimously in your favor. You're a genius, V. Remind your family of that when they put you at the kids' table. David. We're all here when you need us. Your real family. My fingers hover over the screen before I type back. Grandma left me a letter, and apparently an inheritance. I think it's time for me to stop waiting for a place at their table. Their responses come immediately. James. About time. We've been saving you a chair at the head of ours for years. Michelle. Whatever you decide, we're with you. David. Your grandmother sounds like the only smart white besides you. I think back to how they rallied around me when we started the company. How they defended me when clients assumed James was the CEO. How they celebrated every milestone with genuine joy for my success. How different from the hollow congratulations from my parents, always followed by, but Eliza. My jaw tightens. I slide the letter into my purse and walk to the wall, where a family photo from my high school graduation hangs. I'm on the edge, as always. I remove it from the frame, carefully cut myself free from the border, and place the small photo in my wallet. In Mom's dressing room, I spot Grandma's pearl brooch pinned to a scarf borrowed years ago and never returned. I unpin it gently, feeling its weight in my palm before securing it to my blouse. Downstairs, I spot Mr. Abernathy, my parents' financial advisor, sipping champagne near the garden doors. I approach with newfound confidence. Mr. Abernathy, I believe we have some business to discuss. I hand him my card. At your convenience, of course. His eyes widen slightly as he reads, Veronica White, CEO, White Innovations. He tucks it carefully into his pocket. I've been following your company's growth. Impressive work. Your grandmother would be proud. Yes, I say softly. I believe she would. The party swirls around me as I walk through the crowd, head higher than it's been all evening. No one notices as I hand my ticket to the valet. No one sees as my car pulls away from the house. In the rearview mirror, the lights of the party grow smaller. Tears stream down my face, but my breathing steadies. My phone buzzes with a text from Eliza. Where are you? They're about to cut the cake. I don't reply. Instead, I touch Grandma's brooch, feeling its contours beneath my fingers. The road ahead is clear and open. For the first time in 32 years, I'm not driving toward my parents' approval but away from their dismissal. The empty chair I leave behind can stay empty. I have a different seat waiting for me, at a different table, with people who make room in their hearts. The crisp autumn air fills my lungs as I step out of my car at La Fontaine. The restaurant's warm golden glow spills onto the sidewalk, a beacon after the cold shadow of my parents' estate. My hands have finally stopped trembling on the steering wheel. 40 minutes of driving with tears blurring the road had been dangerous but necessary. Some distances can't be measured in miles. Through the windows, I spot them already gathered at our usual corner table. James, Caitlin, and Robert, my business partners, my chosen family. They haven't seen me yet, but they're waiting. Champagne already poured. The maitre d' spots me before I can reach the door. Miss White. We've been expecting you. His genuine smile creates crinkles around his eyes. Your friends are waiting. Shall I take your coat? Inside, the restaurant hums with quiet conversation and the gentle clink of silverware on fine china. The scents of garlic, butter, and fresh herbs replace the cloying perfume of my mother's white roses. James looks up first, his face brightening. There she is. I slide into my waiting chair, the one that's always reserved for me, not 6 tables away from the people I care about. You actually escaped, Caitlin says, reaching for my hand. We were betting on whether you'd make it before dessert. James lifts his champagne flute. To the woman who built something real, he says. While others were planning parties, you were planning the future. The words unlock something in my chest. My smile, the first authentic one of the evening, feels foreign on my face, like a muscle long unused. My phone buzzes in my purse. Then again. And again. Let me guess, Robert says, eyebrows raised. The search party has been deployed? I pull out my phone. 3 texts from Eliza, each more frantic than the last. Where did you go? Mom is furious. Are you seriously ditching the anniversary? The screen changes to an incoming call, my mother. I decline it, but her voicemail follows seconds later. Veronica, I can't believe you would cause a scene by leaving early. People are asking questions. Call me immediately. My father's message arrives next, his voice tight with controlled anger. You've missed Senator Harris and the Douglases. They were specifically asking about tech consultants. Call your mother. I set the phone face down on the table. Not one of them asked if I was okay. Of course not, James says, refilling my glass. That would require seeing you as a person rather than an extension of themselves. Another message from my mother. Emergency meeting tomorrow at 2. You cannot escape this time. The restaurant door opens. A rush of cool air accompanies 2 figures I recognize immediately. Alicia from marketing and Devin from our development team. Did we miss it? Devin asks, breathless, waving his phone. The news just broke. My stomach tightens. Already? It wasn't supposed to hit until morning. James shrugs. Someone leaked. These things happen. Every phone at our table lights up simultaneously, then nearby tables too. The notification catches like wildfire across the restaurant. Breaking. White Innovations acquired by Stellar Tech for estimated $75 M. The calls begin almost immediately. Industry contacts, former clients, college professors who remember my early ambitions, each one expressing genuine excitement for my success. The restaurant owner appears with a bottle of their finest reserve. On the house, he says. My daughter used your productivity software to finish law school. Congratulations on your success. 2 more colleagues arrive, then 3 more. Our corner of the restaurant transforms into an impromptu celebration. We have something for you, Caitlin says during a lull. She places a small, carefully wrapped package in my hands. Inside the tissue paper lies a framed photograph I've never seen before. My grandmother at my age, sitting at her desk in the small accounting practice she built during a time when women were expected to stay home. Her eyes hold the same determined glint I see in the mirror. Where did you find this? I whisper, running my finger along the silver frame. Your Aunt Margaret. She thought you should have it tonight of all nights. Later, as I came back to my apartment, I opened my laptop. The email to my family forms slowly, deliberately. No mention of the acquisition. No details they can use to make my success about them. Just clear boundaries about my participation in future family events. I left early because I needed to be where I was welcome. I wish you both a happy anniversary, but I will no longer attend events where I'm treated as an afterthought rather than a daughter. Coda. My finger hovers over the send button. Not yet. Tonight belongs to those who see my worth without needing headlines to prove it. I close the laptop. For the first time in years, the weight of expectation lifts from my shoulders. Around me, faces shine with genuine affection. No hidden agendas. No conditional love. Tomorrow will bring complications. Tonight, I'm exactly where I belong. The next day, for the meeting, I choose the Meridian for our meeting, deliberately a sleek restaurant on the 40th floor of Hartford's newest skyscraper. Floor-to-ceiling windows frame the Connecticut River like artwork. A power spot. My territory, not theirs. Melissa, my executive assistant, arrives with me precisely 5 minutes before 2. Remember, she whispers, arranging files on the table. I'll signal when 30 minutes have passed. I nod, smoothing the burgundy silk blouse I selected for today. Armor, not appeasing attire. My parents arrive 7 minutes late. Mother's pearl necklace gleams against her cashmere sweater. Father's custom suit probably costs more than most people's monthly mortgage. They hesitate at the sight of Melissa, clearly thrown by her presence. I wasn't aware this was a business meeting. Father says, glancing pointedly at Melissa's portfolio. Just some documents I might need. My voice remains neutral. Melissa, Thank you for bringing these. Before they can object further, the hostess leads Eliza toward our table. My stomach tightens. Of course they brought reinforcements. Traffic was awful, Eliza says, sliding into the chair beside Mother. Her eyes dart nervously between us. The golden child sent as emotional bait. Mother dabs at her eyes before we've even ordered water. Do you have any idea how embarrassing it was? People asked where you'd gone. Any was? Family members noticed your empty seat, Father adds, leaning forward. The Hendersons specifically asked about you. The Hendersons, always the business connection. Never concern for me. I left after being excluded from the family photograph, I state simply. The one Mother specifically requested with just the three of us. Mother's hand flutters to her throat. You overheard that? It was just one photo, Veronica. Don't be dramatic. One photo that perfectly captures 32 years of family dynamics. Melissa silently slides a folder toward me. I open it, removing childhood photographs I'd collected and arranged chronologically. Christmas, 1998. I place the first photo on the table. Eliza front and center. Me, cropped halfway out of the frame. That was just a bad angle. Mother protests. I lay down another. My high school graduation. You both looking at Eliza while I hold my diploma. This is ridiculous, Father huffs. We attended, didn't we? The waiter approaches. Father orders expensive scotch. Mother requests sparkling water. Eliza mimics her choice. Just coffee, black, I tell the waiter, who nods and withdraws. Eliza leans forward, voice rehearsed. I felt attacked when you left, Veronica. Like you were punishing me for being loved. The calculated guilt trips don't work anymore. I simply wait. We told the family you had work stress, Mother finally admits. That you've been under pressure. People understand burnout. How convenient. I sip water, letting the silence stretch uncomfortably. You've rewritten my absence into something that requires neither explanation nor accountability from you. Father's face darkens. You have obligations to this family. Your grandmother would be ashamed of your behavior. My laugh surprises even me. Grandmother left me a letter, and funds specifically designated for me alone. I removed the letter from my folder. She recognized the pattern when she was still alive. Mother pales. What letter? What funds? The ones you never told me about. The inheritance I discovered after her death. Father slams his hand on the table, making the glassware jump. You and your business, playing entrepreneur instead of joining a respectable firm. You think I don't see what this is about? Attention-seeking, just like when you were little. Robert, Mother hisses, glancing around. People are starting to notice. Success has changed you, Mother says, leaning forward. You used to understand family comes first. Eliza's mascara smudges as tears form. You always needed to make everything about you. Even my moments have to become about your feelings. Their tactics might have wounded me once. Now I see them clearly for what they are: manipulation, not love. You're right about one thing, I say calmly. Success has changed me. It's shown me I deserve a seat at tables where I'm valued, not merely tolerated. I see. I place my business card in the center of the glass table. The embossed letters gleam. Veronica White, CEO, White Innovations. My company closed a $75 million acquisition last week. The news broke yesterday evening, during your celebration dinner. Their stunned expressions would be comical if they weren't so sad. If you wish to have a relationship moving forward, it will be on new terms. Equal respect. No more exclusion. No more Veronica in the corner while Eliza takes center stage. Father recovers first. Now listen here. No, I interrupt, standing. You've had 32 years to speak. I've had my say today. I gather my things while they sit frozen. Melissa follows my lead. I'd like a relationship with all of you, I say, voice softening slightly. But I no longer need one. There's a difference. Mother's hand trembles around her water glass. Father's jaw clenches. Eliza looks utterly lost, perhaps seeing for the first time how the family system worked and how it's now breaking. Congratulations again on your anniversary. I say, straightening my shoulders. I truly wish you happiness. I walk away without looking back, each step lighter than the last. Their silence follows me to the elevator, but for once, it doesn't define me. The doors slide closed on their stunned faces, and I exhale 32 years of waiting to matter. My reflection in the polished elevator doors shows something unfamiliar on my face. Peace. I stand in my penthouse kitchen, watching the spring sunset paint Hartford's skyline gold. 6 months since I walked away from my parents' anniversary dinner. 6 months of rebuilding on my terms. The antique mahogany table gleams in my dining room, set with grandmother's Wedgwood china delicate blue flowers against creamy porcelain. I trace my finger along the edge, where generations of white women once gathered. The same table where I was relegated to the far end, if invited at all. Last month, when father decided to downsize their formal dining room, I outbid everyone at the estate auction. The table came home with me, not as a peace offering, but as a reclamation. The doorbell chimes. James arrives first, a bottle of Barolo in one hand, a portfolio in the other. Latest projections for the mentorship program, he says, kissing my cheek. 28 applicants already. Women entrepreneurs who need more than just funding, I say. They need someone who sees their potential. Sarah follows with her husband, then my executive team, 2 college professors who serve on my foundation board, and my attorney Margot, who helped draft the Family Therapy Center donation in grandmother's name. While they mingle, I slip into my office where grandmother's letter hangs framed beside my window. Remember, Veronica, we choose which chairs matter. Her words guided me through my TED Talk last month, Finding Worth Beyond Family Validation. The video already has 300,000 views. My phone buzzes with a text from Eliza. They're still talking about you missing Easter dinner. Dad keeps calling it another stunt. Our cautious reconnection happens in secret texts and occasional coffee meetings. Without our parents watching, she's finding her voice, asking questions about starting community college. Small steps toward her own identity. A knock at my office door. Package just arrived for you, James says, handing me a small bubble mailer. Inside, a faded photograph Eliza and me at age 6 and 9, arms linked, laughing on a tire swing. On the back, in my sister's handwriting, we were happy before they taught us not to be. I tuck the photo into my pocket and return to my guests. They've gathered around the table, wine glasses filled, conversation flowing. No one checking their watch or measuring their words. No subtle jockeying for favor. I take my place at the head of the table. My place, not earned through manipulation or birthright, but offered freely by people who value my presence. To Veronica, James says, raising his glass, whose White Family Foundation just awarded its first scholarship to that brilliant girl from Bridgeport. To second chances, adds Sarah. I stand, feeling the weight of grandmother's brooch pinned above my heart. To chairs that matter, I say, and the people who fill them. Later, as my guests depart, I linger at the empty table. Tomorrow I'll host again, place cards already written in my hand for each person who chose me, not out of obligation but genuine connection. At the far end stands one empty chair. Not a place of exile, but a reminder of what I left behind and what I've found instead. I run my fingers across the polished wood of grandmother's table, now mine, now filled with laughter instead of judgment, with genuine interest instead of performance. The chair that matters most is the one where you're truly seen. And finally, I am.
My shoulders ache as I push open our front door, the familiar strain of an 8-hour shift at the bookstore settling into my muscles. The moment I step inside, something in the air changes. The living room feels charged, heavy with an atmosphere I've learned to recognize since childhood. My mother stands in the center of the room, arms crossed, and my stomach drops before she even opens her mouth. There you are. Her voice carries that razor edge I know too well. Jessica perches on the edge of the couch, lower lip trembling in a performance I've seen 1,000 times before. On the coffee table between them lies a crisp white letter, university letterhead clearly visible, even from where I stand. My eyes catch fragments of words, academic dishonesty, and immediate expulsion. This is your fault. Mom's voice cracks through the air like a whip. You put too much pressure on Jessica. She had no choice but to cheat. I grip the doorframe, my mind struggling to process the absurdity of the accusation. Jessica, perfect Jessica, has been caught cheating on her finals. And somehow, standing in our dimly lit living room, I'm being blamed for it. You're always showing off how perfect you are, Jessica chimes in, her voice wobbling. I just wanted to be as good as you. The words hit me like a physical blow. My brain spins backward through time. 8-year-old me in the principal's office, Mom's fingers digging into my wrist as she blamed me for Jessica's stolen lunch money. The security footage later proved Jessica took it herself, but the apology never came. Christmas morning after Christmas morning, Jessica unwrapping designer handbags while I received secondhand coats with price tags still attached. Jessica deserves nice things, Mom would say. You don't need to be spoiled. Senior year floods back. 2 part-time jobs, saving every penny for a car, only for Mom to demand the money for Jessica's new laptop. Always Jessica. Always my fault. Always my sacrifice. Mom's nails dig into my arm now, dragging me back to the present. This family has done everything for you, and this is how you repay us? You make Jessica feel like she'll never be good enough? Something shifts inside me. 23 years of bending, breaking, accepting, and suddenly, I can't do it anymore. I pull my arm free, lifting my chin to meet her gaze. I had nothing to do with this, I say, my voice shaking but firm. Jessica cheated. That's on her. The silence that follows feels like the moment before a storm breaks. Mom's face contorts with fury as she snatches up the expulsion letter, thrusting it in my face. You ungrateful brat! The paper crumples in her grip. You're the reason this family is falling apart. The words crack something inside me, something fundamental and irreparable. I look at my mother, really look at her, and for the first time, I see the truth. She doesn't see me as a daughter. I'm just a convenient scapegoat, a receptacle for every failure, every disappointment, every flaw she can't bear to acknowledge in her golden child. My eyes drift to Jessica. She watches in silence, not apologizing, not even pretending to be grateful for Mom's defense. Instead, there's an almost smug satisfaction in her expression. She knows she'll walk away from this unscathed, just like always. The weight of years presses down on my shoulders, heavier than any bookstore shift. If I stay, this will be my entire life. Always sacrificing, always invisible, always wrong. My gaze falls on the front door, just a few feet away. It's still open from when I walked in, showing a slice of the darkening sky beyond. That door represents everything I've never had. Freedom, uncertainty, the chance to live for myself. What? Mom scoffs, following my gaze. You're leaving? You have nowhere to go. You'll be back in a week, begging for my help. I don't respond. Instead, I turn and walk to my bedroom, the smallest in the house, barely furnished. My hands move on autopilot, stuffing a duffel bag with essentials, a few changes of clothes, a worn notebook, the $60 in cash I've managed to hide from Mom's borrowing. Before I leave, my eyes catch on a photo frame. Me as a child, smiling, before I understood what this house would become. I take it with me. The night air hits my face as I step outside. It's cold, but somehow lighter than any breath I've taken in that house. Behind me, Mom's voice carries across the yard. Go ahead. Don't come crying to me when the world chews you up. I don't look back. If you were me, would you have left, even if you had nowhere to go? Mom's words chase me down the empty street. Asterisk. You'll come crawling back. You have nothing. No one. Asterisk. The night air wraps around me like a cold sheet, and my fingers clench tighter around the strap of my duffel bag. $60. A change of clothes. A photo I should have left behind. The weight of what I've done crashes over me in waves, each step carrying me further from everything I've ever known. The neighborhood stretches endless and dark ahead of me. Porch lights flicker on one by one, families settling in for dinner, for movie nights, for all the normal things that happen in normal homes. My chest tightens. Where do you go when home stops being home? I walk until my feet ache, until the residential streets give way to commercial districts. The hum of distant traffic mixes with the chirp of crickets, and still I walk. Pride keeps me from pulling out my phone, from scrolling through the short list of contacts who might let me crash on their couch. I'm not going to prove Mom right. Not tonight. 2 hours in, exhaustion hits like a physical blow. My shoulders slump as I spot the glowing sign of the 24-hour train station. Not safe, exactly, but shelter. Better than nothing. The fluorescent lights inside cast everything in a sickly yellow glow. A handful of people occupy the hard plastic seats, a woman clutching a garbage bag full of what looks like clothes, a man in a business suit passed out across 3 seats, someone muttering to themselves in the corner. I choose a spot near the vending machines, as far as possible from the muttering man. The tile floor sends cold seeping into my bones the moment I sit. My stomach growls, reminding me I haven't eaten since breakfast, but I keep the $60 tucked deep in my pocket. Who knows when I'll see money again? Sleep proves impossible. Every shuffling footstep jolts me awake. Every announcement over the crackling PA system sends my heart racing. The vending machines hum, an endless drone that sets my teeth on edge. By the time dawn creeps in through the grimy windows, my throat feels like sandpaper, and my head pounds with the kind of exhaustion that makes the world tilt sideways. A new wave of commuters flows in, their fresh clothes and coffee cups a stark reminder of how far I've fallen in just 12 hours. I catch my reflection in a window-wrinkled shirt, tangled hair, the kind of hollow-eyed look I used to see in homeless people, and think, how did they end up there? Asterisk. Now I know. One bad night. One moment of standing up for yourself. One realization that the devil you know is worse than the devil you don't. A single tear slips down my cheek before I can stop it. I swipe it away hard enough to leave my skin stinging. Crying won't help. Nothing will help except getting up, finding work, surviving. I force myself to my feet, muscles protesting after hours on the cold floor. If I don't find a job today, I won't make it through another night like this. The thought should terrify me, but instead, it settles in my chest like steel. I've spent 23 years surviving Margaret Sullivan's house. I'm not about to let the real world break me now. The morning passes in a blur of rejection. Every storefront, every help-wanted sign leads to the same response. We're not hiring. The fast food manager barely glances up from his phone, dismissing me with a wave. By noon, my legs shake with each step, and the gnawing in my stomach has turned to a constant ache. Then I spot Ida's small diner tucked between a laundromat and a pawn shop. The neon sign flickers weakly. Lopez's Home Cooking. Through the window, I watch a woman with steel gray hair tied back in a tight bun directing staff with sharp gestures. The bell chimes as I push open the door. The woman Marianne Lopez, according to her name tag, looks me up and down, taking in my wrinkled clothes and desperate expression. Ever washed dishes before? She asks, no preamble. I can learn. The kitchen air hits like a wall of heat. Grease coats every surface, and the mountain of dishes seems endless. By closing time, my fingers are raw and pruned, my back screaming. But when Marianne hands me $40 in cash, it feels like more than money. It feels like survival. That night, curled up in the same train station corner, I allow myself to check my college fund account at the ATM across the street. The account I've been saving since I was 14, working every summer job, every holiday shift. If there's anything left, maybe I could still balance. $0. My hands shake as I navigate through the transaction history. Multiple withdrawals, all under Margaret Sullivan's name. Designer clothes, concert tickets, private tutors for Jessica. The screen blurs as tears well up. She didn't just kick me out, she made sure I couldn't leave on my own terms. Made sure I'd have nothing. But something shifts in my chest, something harder than despair. If Margaret Sullivan could steal my future, I'll build a new one. Without her, without any of them. Need more hours? Marianne asked the next morning, watching me scrub pots with mechanical precision. Yes. My friend owns a coffee shop. She needs help. You want in? I pause, sponge dripping suds onto my shoes. 2 jobs means twice the escape velocity. When can I start? The coffee shop is different customers instead of dishes, lattes instead of grease. My first real paycheck feels like victory, small but mine. Every dollar is a brick in the wall between me and Margaret Sullivan's voice in my head. Then I see it checking my remaining account balance at the end of the month. A transaction made in my name weeks after I left. Margaret Sullivan, still pulling strings, still using my identity like it belongs to her. I should be angry, should report it. But something colder takes root instead. Let her think she's won. Let her keep digging her own grave. One day, when I'm ready, all her fraud will come back to haunt her, and this time, I'll be the one watching her fall. My hands shake as I count out $1 bills on my threadbare mattress. 23, 24, 25. The bills are wrinkled and stained from 12-hour days split between Bean and Brew and Lopez Diner. I stuff them into a worn envelope, already knowing it's not enough for rent. The alarm on my phone blares at 4:15 a.m. Another day, another shift. I drag myself up, muscles screaming from yesterday's double. The mirror shows dark circles under my eyes that no amount of concealer can hide. But pride means nothing when you're one missed paycheck away from sleeping in your car. At Bean and Brew, I've mastered the art of becoming invisible. Head down, movements efficient, voice pleasant but forgettable. Until I'm not. Seriously? A woman in a cream-colored blazer sneers as I fumble her complicated drink order. Why do they even hire people who can't do their job properly? My cheeks burn, but I keep my expression neutral as I remake her drink. Inside, rage bubbles up like scalding milk in the steamer. I want to tell her about my cramping fingers from 8 hours of dishwashing yesterday. About choosing between dinner and bus fare. I said, sugar-free vanilla, she snaps, pushing the drink back across the counter. I remake it again, and again, and again. That night, I collapse onto my bed without bothering to change. The springs dig into my back through the thin mattress, but I'm too exhausted to care. As I turn my head, a familiar scent catches my attention, soft, soothing lavender. My eyes find the source, an old handmade candle tucked in the corner of my duffel bag, one of the few things I grabbed when I left. The scent pulls me back 12 years. Mom's kitchen, but on a rare day when she and Jessica were out. Me, carefully melting wax in an old pot, pouring it into mismatched jars from the recycling bin. The pure satisfaction of creating something beautiful from nothing. I sit up slowly, mind racing. My laptop is already open to my checking account, $212.47. Just enough for supplies. If it doesn't work, my finger hovers over the place order button. In my head, Mom's voice sneers, asterisk. You'll fail. You always do. Asterisk. I click. 3 days later, my tiny apartment fills with the warm scent of melting wax. I measure temperatures obsessively, test fragrances, adjust ratios. Each candle takes shape under my hand-simple mason jars, filled with carefully layered colors and scents that remind me of comfort, of home. Not the home I had, but the one I always wanted. The Etsy shop setup takes hours. I photograph each candle under the harsh fluorescent bathroom light, trying to make them look professional. The descriptions flow easier words about warmth, comfort, peace, things I'm still learning to find. Days pass. No sales. I refresh the page between customers at Bean and Brew during my breaks at the diner, before falling asleep at night. Nothing. The voice in my head that sounds like Mom grows louder. What made you think anyone would want this? Asterisk? Thina notification. 1 candle. $12. I stare at the order confirmation until my vision blurs. It's barely enough to cover shipping, but it's something. It's proof. The validation lasts exactly 8 days. Then the reviews start. Poor quality. Arrived broken. Smells like chemicals. Worst purchase ever. Don't waste your money. Amateur hour. Get a real job. My stomach turns to ice as I read the usernames. Margaret's 1962. Jessica Love's 2 Shop. They found me. Later that night, I discover a Reddit thread. Jessica's username is unmistakable, mocking my pathetic little candle shop and reminding everyone that some people should know their place. The rage that fills me isn't hot like before. It's cold, crystalline. For the first time, I see the truth with perfect clarity. They don't just want me to stay down. They want to make sure I never get up. You look like you're plotting murder. I snap my head up from my phone to find Riley, my bean and brew coworker, watching me with concern. She's wiping down the counter after closing, her blue hair falling in her face. I'm fine, I say automatically. Yeah, and I'm the Queen of England. Riley leans against the counter. Spill. I hesitate, but something in her expression genuinely concerned rakes through my walls. The whole story spills out. The candles, the reviews, the sabotage. Instead of the pity I expect, Riley's eyes light up. Dude, you need to get on TikTok. Let me help. I'm good at this stuff. Before I can protest, she's pulling out her phone, arranging my sample candles on the clean counter. The light catches the glass, making the colors shimmer. Small businesses deserve support, she narrates, filming. Let's get this girl some orders. I watch her post it, certain nothing will come of it. Another dead end, another failure. I've never been more wrong. The next morning, my phone won't stop buzzing. 10,000 views, 20,000 views, 50,000 views. Orders flood my inbox. 50, 100, 200. Numbers I never dared to dream about. Then, buried in the avalanche of notifications, an email that makes my heart stop. From Brand Partnerships, Luxe Aroma. Subject: Partnership, Opportunity. We love your work. Would you be interested in discussing a potential collaboration? Asterisk. My fingers hover over the keyboard as that old, familiar fear creeps in. What if Mom finds out? What if Jessica tries to take this away too? But something has changed. The voice in my head that sounds like Mom isn't the loudest anymore. My voice is. I click reply. The scent of lavender and sage fills my tiny home studio as I pour another batch of candles. My hands move with practiced precision, measuring and mixing while order notifications ping on my phone. 300 units to ship by Friday. 2 wholesale accounts pending approval. 1 brand collaboration meeting next week. I pause, letting the familiar piece of creation wash over me. Just 6 months ago, I was slinging lattes at Bean and Brew, my fingers perpetually sticky with caramel syrup. Now my hands smell of essential oils and success. Today's my last day, I had told my manager, handing over my apron. She'd hugged me tight, whispering, "Go get him," in my ear. That moment felt like stepping off a cliff, terrifying and exhilarating all at once. But my online orders had finally overtaken my cafe wages. It was time. Celine? Riley pokes her head through the studio doorway, waving her phone. You might want to see this. My stomach tightens at her tone. She hands me her phone, open to a local news article. The headline hits like a punch to the gut. Local family faces foreclosure after years of financial mismanagement. There's my childhood home in the grainy photo, the peeling yellow paint even more obvious in newsprint. The article mentions Margaret Sullivan by name, my mother, and details how she's 3 months behind on mortgage payments. My eyes catch on a quote from a neighbor. It's sad to see. That house used to be so well maintained, but ever since her older daughter left. I hand the phone back to Riley, my hands steady. I need to finish these orders. There's more. Riley's voice softens. Jessica dropped out, failed most of her classes last semester. The loans came due and she trails off, watching me carefully. I turn back to my work table, checking the temperature of my wax. Not my problem. But that night, as I'm packaging the last orders, my phone buzzes. Unknown number, but I recognize the area code. Home. My mother's voice crackles through the speaker before I can decline. Celine, honey. The familiar manipulation oozes through her words, but something's different. A tremor. Uncertainty. I miss you. Family should stick together. Your sister is struggling. We all are. We need you. I let the silence stretch, feeling the weight of 2 decades of guilt and obligation press against my chest. But it doesn't crush me anymore. I end the call without speaking. The texts from Jessica start flowing immediately. I know I was a bad sister. I was just jealous. You were always so much better than me. Please, Celine, I have nowhere else to go. I block both numbers and return to my work. The wax melts, the orders ship. My business grows. 3 days later, Riley bursts into the studio again. It's gone viral. She shows me a social media post from Mrs. Chen, our old next-door neighbor, the one who used to slip me extra cookies when I helped her with her garden, the one who saw everything. I watched that girl get blamed for things she didn't do her whole life, the post reads. Celine Sullivan was treated like a maid while Jessica Sullivan was worshipped. Now that Celine has a successful business, suddenly they miss her? Where was that love when she was working 3 jobs to survive? The comment section explodes with support. Old classmates emerge with their own stories. The truth about Jessica's academic cheating scandal resurfaces. Someone mentions how she used to steal other students' work. A former teacher confirms it. I watch it all unfold, with a strange detachment. The empire of lies my mother built around her golden child crumbles, post by post, share by share. Jessica's name becomes toxic in professional circles. No one will hire her now. The next time my mother calls, she uses Jessica's phone to bypass the block. Her voice shakes. No superiority, no arrogance, just raw desperation. Please, she whispers. We have nothing left. Jessica's call comes an hour later, her words stumbling between sobs. I have nothing left. I was horrible to you, I know, but please, help me. I stand in my studio, surrounded by the business I built from nothing. The fresh batch of candles cools on the rack, their surfaces smooth and perfect. Orders wait to be shipped to customers who value my work. My bank account holds more money than my mother ever borrowed from me. The power has shifted. They know it. I know it. I pick up a candle, examining its flawless surface. For years, they controlled every aspect of my life. Now they need me to survive. The irony would be sweet if I could still taste it. But standing here, in the life I've built for myself, I realize I feel nothing for them at all. No anger, no satisfaction, no love. The bell above my shop door chimes. I look up to see 2 familiar figures step inside, my mother and Jessica, shadows of their former selves. Their designer clothes are gone, replaced by worn department store clearance. The makeup can't hide their exhaustion. My mother's eyes dart around the studio, calculating the value of everything she sees. Even now, she's looking for something to take. Celine, baby? Her voice drips with false sweetness. I know we've had our differences, but you're successful now. You can afford to help your family, right? Jessica steps forward, her hands twisting together. I'll do anything, please. I'll work for you. Just don't let me end up like this. I look at them. Really look at them. The women who made my childhood a prison. The mother who stole my future to fund her favorite daughter's failures. The sister who watched me break and smiled. They wait for my response. Desperate hope painted across their faces. They expect the old Celine, the one who would sacrifice everything to earn a scrap of their approval. But that Celine is gone. In her place stands a woman who built herself from the ashes they left behind. The candle in my hands has cooled completely now. I set it aside with the others, ready for shipping to someone who will appreciate its worth. No, I say simply, and turn back to my work. The clicking of my heels against polished marble echoes through the lobby as I approach my office. Through the glass walls, I spot them before they see me, Mom, and Jessica, looking small and displaced among the sleek furniture and modern art pieces I've carefully selected. The expensive furnishings reflect the life they never imagined I'd have. Abstract paintings worth more than our old house, ergonomic chairs that cost more than Jessica's last semester of college, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking a city that finally belongs to me. Jessica perches on the edge of a leather chair, her designer clothes from better days now wrinkled and worn. Her hollow cheeks and bitten nails tell a story of sleepless nights and mounting debts. Mom stands rigid beside her, hands clasped in a pose I recognize from countless parent-teacher conferences or concerned mother act. My stomach doesn't drop anymore when I see them. That's new. Celine, sweetheart. Mom's voice breaks as she spots me, tears welling up right on cue. Her hands tremble as she reaches toward me, a masterful performance of motherly remorse. We've made mistakes, I see that now, but we're still family. I let the silence stretch, watching as Jessica's fingers twist in her lap. She looks thinner now, her once perfect makeup slightly smudged, the designer bag at her feet a knockoff of last season's style. The golden child tarnished at last. Family helps each other, right? Jessica's voice wavers, but I catch the familiar manipulative undertone. She leans forward, desperation crackling beneath her practiced vulnerability. After everything, you wouldn't just abandon us, would you? The irony almost makes me laugh. Instead, I cross my arms, tilt my head, and ask the question that's been burning in my throat for years. Oh, but when I needed help, where were you? Mom flinches, as if I'd slapped her. Good. When I worked 2 jobs and still had to give Jessica my savings, where were you? Each word drops like ice into the pristine quiet of my lobby. When I had nowhere to sleep but a train station, where were you? When you stole my college fund? When you laughed as I struggled, where were you? We didn't know, Mom stammers, her performance cracking. The perfectly curated tears dry up as reality sets in. We thought you'd be fine on your own. A cold smile curves my lips. Well, you were right. I was fine. I am fine. And I did it without you. Jessica's face crumples, reality finally piercing her bubble of privilege. No education after the cheating scandal, no career prospects, no safety net. The golden child finally facing consequences. The truth of her situation reflects in the windows surrounding us is nothing now, and she knows it. I was a kid, Jessica's voice cracks. I didn't know any better. And now you're an adult, facing the consequences of your actions. I meet her gaze steadily. Welcome to the real world, Jessica. I reach into my desk drawer, pull out 2 bus tickets. They're one-way tickets back to our old town, the place Mom swore she'd never return to, where the streets are too narrow and the dreams too small. I lay them on the glass coffee table with precise movements. I won't leave you with nothing. Here's a way home. Take it or leave it. Jessica snatches up 1 ticket, rips it in half. Her hands shake with the same entitled rage that once made me feel so small. You think this is funny? You think you're better than us? No, Jessica. I straighten my blazer, smooth imaginary wrinkles. I know I'm better than you. Mom stares at the torn pieces of paper scattered across my pristine floor. She doesn't argue anymore, doesn't plead. She knows this is over. The city hums beyond my windows, a rhythm of success she'll never be part of. I take one last look at them, the mother who never saw me, the sister who never earned her crown. Years ago, their judgment could shatter me. Now, they look small, insignificant. Just 2 more failed attempts at manipulation in my carefully constructed world. I built this life without you, I say, turning toward my office. I think I'll keep living it without you. My heels click against marble again as I walk away. Behind me, I hear Jessica's ragged breathing, Mom's stifled sob. The sound of their desperation fades with each step. I don't look back. I've spent enough of my life looking back. Morning light streams through my floor-to-ceiling windows, casting long shadows across the bamboo floors of my apartment. I breathe in the rich aroma of freshly ground coffee beans, letting the quiet settle around me like a familiar blanket. No tension, no walking on eggshells, just peace. My phone buzzes with a notification. Another 5-star review for Lunar Lux candles. I scroll through the comments, a smile tugging at my lips as I read about how our signature scents have transformed people's faces. 3 years ago, I was mixing essential oils in my cramped studio apartment, praying I could sell enough to make rent. Now I have 15 employees, a warehouse in Brooklyn, and more orders than we can handle. I pause at my bedroom mirror, taking in my reflection. The dark circles that once haunted my eyes have faded. My shoulders no longer hunch with the weight of constant criticism. I look free. The drive to my old neighborhood feels surreal. Each familiar turn stirs memories I've long since buried, but they no longer have the power to wound. When I round the final corner, I almost don't recognize the house. The pristine lawn Margaret took such pride in has grown wild and unkempt. Paint peels from the shutters like dead skin, and a crooked for sale sign swings in the autumn breeze. I park across the street, studying the abandoned shell of my childhood prison. No cars in the driveway, no lights in the windows, just empty rooms holding the ghosts of arguments long past. Through a broken window, I can see the living room where I last stood my ground, the spot where I finally said no. A strange laugh bubbles up in my throat, not bitter, not haunted, just surprised. This place that once seemed so massive, so suffocating, now looks small and insignificant. Like a set from a play I no longer have to perform in. The community center downtown buzzes with afternoon energy as I push through the glass doors. In the main room, a group of young women gather around tables, some taking notes, others sharing stories. My mentorship program started small, just me and 2 others who'd escaped similar situations. Now we have 30 regular attendees. Maya sits in her usual corner, dark hair falling forward to hide her face. At 16, she reminds me so much of myself it aches. Her parents kicked her out last month for refusing to give up art school for the accounting degree they'd chosen. Now she crashes on friends' couches, working part-time at a diner, clinging to her dreams with both hands. "How do you stop being afraid they'll come back?" she asks when I sit beside her. Her voice trembles, but her eyes hold steady. "That they'll find a way to hurt you again?" I take her hand, feeling the slight tremor in her fingers. "You don't have to stop being afraid." I tell her the truth I wish someone had given me. You just have to stop letting the fear control you. Walking through the center after our session ends, I think about the fundamental difference between us. Margaret spent her life tearing people down. Jessica took everything she could get, but I chose another way. Every time I help someone stand taller, every time I share what I've learned about survival and success, I feel a pride Margaret never knew, the kind that comes from lifting others up instead of crushing them. Later, standing on my balcony with the city lights spread out below me, I think about Margaret and Jessica, about the patterns they're still trapped in, the cycles they'll never break. I chose a different path. Every young woman I help find her strength. Every candle we ship with a handwritten note of encouragement. Every moment I choose kindness over bitterness. It's another step further from becoming them. The night air carries the faint scent of autumn, crisp and full of possibility. I whisper words I've finally come to believe. Some revenge doesn't require action, just success. I take a deep breath and let the past fade into the darkness below, where it belongs.